much. So without much ado, we'll get the section started, and at the end of the section, because I was actually talking with a group of other friends and colleagues. So we have decided to give one person at the end of today's section, just one person. We are going to help the person with a free application for Canada. So that will actually be used to wrap up the entirety of what we have done so far. So I don't know if that is well understood.
Free one, sir.
I need help. It's me.
Can you guys
well
hear me now?
sir.
We can hear
now
you.
Well
in essence is we
I can't understand you, sir. We can't hear you properly.
Okay, now I'll be saying that again. We have actually agreed that the end of today's section, because we'll still be having subsequent classes just to groom us and get us better, but we have actually decided at the end of today's section, one of the participants is going to be given a free slot for Canada visit or work visa. So the entirety of the course will be borne by us. So we are going to pay both for the biometrics, the appointments, proof of funds, and everything. So all you just need is just to make yourself available, and that's it. So I'm sure it's actually a good one to know.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's great. Wow. Are you busy?
Okay, so in view to that now, I don't know who that lucky person will be. So it's just kind of a visa slot. Let's just call it that way.
I think I should be the one.
Person's actually...
I'm the one.
I'm the one.
I think I should be the one.
I'm the one in Jesus' name.
I'm the one.
Okay, now this is the view now. Everyone is eligible.
So what happens to your businesses? What happened to your businesses if you all go to Canada now?
It's not relocation.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam Lola. Thank you. At least that question have to be asked. But I think the bit now, I don't know. Though Canada has actually been a long-time dream for everybody. So everybody just wants to go. I don't understand the hardship, and it's so ridiculous to see Mr. President falling down today at the speech. So sorry about that. But I'm also in Nigeria, but I get to feel the pain too. So it's not so bad if just one person notwithstanding, it's if you either go for a visiting or a work package. So we'll just be bearing all of the costs. That to some extent is to seal or to actually wrap up everything we have learned so far, so that we can actually have an in-house testimonial that, okay, I took this course and this is the proof of the course I took. Yeah, I'm in Canada. I was able to find my way after taking the course. So that is actually what we want to do. So in light to that, everybody is eligible. Everybody is eligible, but who the person is, I don't know. For my very self, I don't know. All of you are wonderful people. I think 60 to 70% of the persons here, I know them. I know Mr. Barbara. I know Madam Ololade. I know her so well. I know Madam Dorcas. I know her way. I just know everybody, virtually everybody. Saint Pat, I know her. So I don't know who the person is going to be, but let's just keep our class running. And at the end of the class, the lucky person will be discovered. So it's going to be a free visa ticket. So you don't just have to do anything. So the only thing you have to get is just to go look for funds to get your ticket. That's just the only thing you've been needing. So without much ado now, we are getting the class started. Welcome back, everyone. So far, so well. The course has actually been an amazing one, although the previous class was actually so much issue to the network and all. But I do know today is going to be the best of it so far. So what do we do in view to the class today? I'll just take the time and reiterate some of the things we learned in our last class. Then after that, give window opportunity for us to ask questions. Then we now move on to proof of funds and insurance, so that we can actually get all of that fully finished, pending when the organizers will be bringing the next section again. I think the next section will be coming up in July. and we'll be learning more greater things, and be building on so much to the package. So how do we get this class started? We'll be starting first with, I'll just share some of our view insight as to what we did the last class. Then after that, now a few questions that were supposed to be answered will be asked. Then we move on to the proof of funds and the right insurance policy. Then we draw conclusion from there. And immediately after the class, everybody who participated will be given the Canada Visa Success Bible. So the material is actually ready, is on deck. So that will be shared so that you can still make light of the information contained in the material and see how well you can help Nigerians and other Africans to find their way to Canada. So in light of that, without much ado, last section, we were able to look at Canada visa success from the immigration perspective. We looked about the types of Canada visa, although we weren't able to look at every aspect of the other aspects of the
This network wants to start again today. I can't hear. Is it only me? Am I the only one?
We bind the network by the grace of by the blood of Jesus.
We blind it too.
We bind the devil today. We bind you, Mr. Devil.
Yes. Mr. West always said, Mr. West, you always tell us it's not village people.
Where they go sit down.
This one are village people.
It's Mike.
Yes.
This is not network. I think
we arrest all village people behind this in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Somebody hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So what is going on now?
Network and this, I don't understand. Is it his own network or ours? I think it's his own.
Maybe it's busy. Hello.
Father Lord, who do us this thing? Holy Ghost fire. Why?
Should we start praying? Not be today now. Make we start praying. No. Today we want to go Canada. Today we are going to go Canada.
Make I start.
Fire. Holy Ghost fire.
Okay, now I think the network should be better. Is it better now?
Okay, we can hear you now, sir.
Okay, I think maybe because I'm using a earpod, I guess that could be the reason. So I think I'm just speaking directly to the device. So since you can hear me, great now. So I did say that today we are going to look at the work permits or the work visa, which is still a part of the temporary resident visa or the TRV approach. So now, when we talk about the work visa or the work permit, what it entails basically is just a requirement that foreign nationals need in order for them to work in Canada temporarily. Remember, all of these are routes to the temporary visa or the temporary residence. So now, for a foreign national to actually get to work in Canada, he or she actually needs the work visa or the work permit. And the reason why Canada on daily basis keep calling for openings, keep bringing new pilot programs, launching new programs here and there, it's simply because they actually want to fill the labor shortages and allow other workers from other parts of the world to gain international experience. So in that vein, contributing to the Canada economy. So that is just the basic or the essence of the work visa or the work permit. And vis-a-vis now, there are several types of work permits. There are several types of work permits. So we are going to look at them. And when we're done looking at them, we'll go straight to the Canada Job Bank. Then we are going to see how we can also search for jobs, what we need to get jobs, and how to go about that. Now, the first approach is the first type of work permit we have is the employer-specific work permit. Okay, now when we say a work permit is employer-specific, now it simply means it's a kind of a work permit that is tied to a particular employer and a particular job position. So what this suggests is usually now for employer-specific work permits, they are actually tied to a particular employer and they are jobs that are tied to a particular job position. For instance, ABC company in Canada is actually wanting the service of maybe drivers, truck drivers. So it's specific. It's not something that is actually open to several positions. So it's just direct to one position. So one employer and you'll be coming to fill in for just one job position. So this type of employer specific work permit usually requires what is known as the labor market impact assessment. So some of us must have heard about the LMIA. So the LMIA is actually under this category, which is employer specific. So in this case now, when you get an LMI job, we'll get to talk about LMI in larger quota. You are getting a job to a particular employer and you are coming to fill in just a particular position. So now, for you to actually be hired under the LMIA, it must be proven that you have a positive impact to the Canadian labor market. And the employer who is also recruiting you at the same time also have a negative impact to no staff to actually fill in their organization. So that is employer specific. And on the other hand, we have the open work permit. The open work permit is not job specific, it's not tied to a particular employer, it's not tied to a particular job position. It's actually a permit that a particular individual holds that enables him or her to work with any employer in Canada. So if you are having the open work permit, you can work with any employer in Canada. You are not restricted to a particular employer, neither are you restricted to a particular job position. And the open work permit is usually issued to spouses of either international students or skilled workers or certain international graduates. So let's take, for instance, a man actually gets a job in Canada using the LMI approach, which is the employer-specific work permit. His wife, which is a civil partner or his spouse, is permitted to come to Canada alongside with him as his or as his dependent, and he gets to work openly in the system where he can work with any employer in Canada, not just being restricted to a particular job position or being restricted to a particular skill or a particular employer. So that is that for the open work permit. So the two types of work permit vis-a-vis is the employer specific work permit. And I said for this now is like the LMIA approach, where a particular applicant gets the job and he or she gets to work with just one employer and he's coming to work for a particular job position. But in the case of the open work permit, usually it's open to dependent of someone who is either an international student or someone who got or who is having a job in Canada. So their spouses, either the male or the female, have access to the open work permit. So what are the process for employer-specific work permits? Let's say now you want to come for the employer-specific work permit. What are the process What do you need to know? What do you need to have in place? Now, we'll be talking about that under the LMIA, just like I stated earlier, the labor market impact assessment, which is an employer-specific work permit. What are the procedures? The first procedure is, first, you must have a job offer. So we are going to see how we can apply for jobs. What do we need to get jobs? What are the requirements for applying for a Canadian job, either for yourself, your spouses, your relatives, or even your clients? So for you to qualify for the LMIA, the first approach is you must have an LMIA job offer. So now the job offer you'll be getting has to be issued or given by an LMIA employer, because not every employer in Canada can actually give you the LMIA job. So persons who can actually give the LMIA jobs are Canadian employers who have actually enrolled or signed up for the LMIA program. So in that vein or in that light, such participants, such employers can now recruit people and give them LMIA jobs. So we are going to look at that.
Please, what is the meaning of LMIA?
Okay, LMIA
what is the meaning
stands for labor.
LMIA?
Okay, LMI is Labor Market Impact Assessment. So it's actually a program that was launched 2 years back by the Canadian government to actually help employers in Canada to get best hands to come fill in the market space in Canada. So now the first approach is, if you are coming under the LMIA, first you need a job from an LMIA employer. Now, the second is, when you have gotten your job, the applicant will submit his personal details, his employment history, his proof of qualification, and supporting documents. So once you have done this on the portal, just like we saw the last time, the next is you now pay biometrics and fees. And I did say the last class that biometrics include your fingerprints and your photograph capturing. Do we get that? Now, why the fee that you will be paying is known as a processing fee. So these are just the requirements for getting an employer-specific job in Canada. First, if you are using the LMI route, the first approach is you need to get a job. So when you get an offer letter from an LMI employer, then the next thing is for you to make your submission. So in submitting, what do you submit? You submit all of your personal details, your employment history, which is the employment letter you got from your employer. Then if you have any form of qualification, you can actually have all of that and every other supporting document. Then after that, now you pay your biometric fee. As we can remember, the last class, when we looked at for the application for a visiting visa was about 100 Canadian dollars. So we'll still get to see what this entails. Now, but when it comes to the open work permit, remember is applicant dependent, in the sense that when a primary applicant gets an LMIA job, his or her spouses or dependents are eligible for the open work permit. Do we get to have that now? So such as spouses and all that has been explained. So what are the requirements for applying for open work permits? The requirement is proof of eligibility and supporting documents. So there must be a proof that the dependent is related to the applicant, either by civil obligations or rights like marriage, or by blood tie in the case of children. So once all of that is in place, all of that will be finalized. And the duration for work permit depends on the job. So what is the duration? If someone may ask, now if I get an LMI job offer, how long will it take? The duration to some extent is dependent on the job offer. So the nature of the job offer, because when the employer is giving you a job offer, he or she will tell you the time you are supposed to resume. So let's take, for instance, we apply for a job now, we get a job. The employer might say that the particular applicant have to resume in 2 months' time, in 3 months' time, as the case may be. So the conditions for the duration is dependent on when you are supposed to resume for the job offer. Though in most cases, extensions are possible if the job offer is extended or if the worker transition is to another role. So that is actually possible.
Okay, sir. So, can I ask you a question first, sir? Just a question. Hello, sir.
Yeah, I'm around.
Hello.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. Can I ask you
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, great. But
We can
we'll be
ask.
going
We
over
can
to
hear you, sir.
questions shortly. Yeah, just keep
Yes,
your questions. We'll be going over to questions shortly.
okay, sir. In case we're involved, we are from employment and LMI, and how many years can someone will work under the LMI before he has the opportunity? I have opportunity to have to work in open permit.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get that. Your question again, please.
Somebody after work, if LMI give offer, maybe how many years can someone will work under LMI and if likely to convert
Okay, now.
the freezer to an open employment.
Okay, now. Usually at the time now, I think your question is if you get
Hello.
Oh.
yeah, I can
Network
hear
failure.
you.
Can we have the
Okay,
questions
sir.
later,
I think
please?
this network issue.
Yes,
We shall
question
allow the
on behalf.
administrator to round up. We'll jot our questions. After it's done, then we'll ask our question because of the network fluctuation. So now we are due.
This
Let
is
me
Yes.
say
what
this.
the facilitator told us early this morning, that we should write our questions so this man does not get distracted. Let's listen first. After the whole thing, we ask our questions. Eh?
Exactly.
I think
Exactly.
that's the best approach because the network is not friendly. Interrupting with
Exactly.
questions is not
Eh?
helping, is not helping us.
Before we know it now, we will stay till 9 p.m. Ah,
It's okay,
Exactly.
madam.
We
All right,
listen
thank
first.
you very much.
Thereafter,
Thank
we
you
ask
very much,
questions.
everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So please, let's be calm. Let's be calm.
Unmute everybody.
Please, sir, you can
Mute
take over
everybody.
now, sir. Please don't entertain any question. And if you have any question, just put up your hand. When it's time for questioning, we'll start picking from the first down. Please, no interruption any longer, please. Thank you.
Okay, now thanks so much to that now. So over to discuss now. So the open work permits. Now the duration, I was actually talking about the duration. The duration varies on the job offer. So now, but usually most Canadian works are 2 years, except if it's a seasonal job. So seasonal or temporary jobs are the ones that could be 6 months or could be 8 months and the likes. But most times when you get a job offer in Canada, then you are supposed to work for 2 years. And your dependents as at that time also work as long as your permit is still applicable or valid. So during the duration of your permit, your dependents, which is to some extent your civil partner, can work with any organization, can work with any employer your chief deem fit or deem necessary. But the very next big question will be now, since you are the reason why your dependent is actually working, how about if your job is being terminated? Now, it should be on record that a particular employer can still lay you off. But when you are being laid off, that does not mean your permit is expired. No. If, let's say, after working for 3 months, maybe the job condition is not so favorable, and or maybe the paycheck is not matching up with your living expenses and all, you can still quit the job and look for other possible jobs. But during those times, you have to actually sign most appropriate agreements with the employer so that the employer does not get to file some legal suit against you, depriving or debarring you from actually taking other offers. But usually LMI offers are 2 years and they are also renewable. And why should you be in Canada for 2 years and not get PR? That should be the very big next question, because the essence is just for everyone who is coming around to get their permanent residence. So that is actually the basic or the core factor surrounding that. Now, beyond that, beyond the employer specific, we also have other entries that brings about permanent visas. We have the express entries. We we have the federal skilled worker programs. There are so many, but we are not so interested in theories today. We are just going to delve now to what should you do? How can I apply for a Canadian job or apply to a Canadian employer? Now, these are the steps to be noted. The first step is note Canada has a different resume structure or standard. Canada resume standard or structure is not like our conventional Nigeria resume structure. As a matter of fact, in Canada, when you are making a Canada resume, you are not even supposed to put your religion because Canada has zero tolerance for racial discrimination, and it's one of the best countries to live in, especially when it comes to discrimination being at a hot or to a standpoint of zero. So the first approach is before you actually get to apply for a job, which you are going to start in no time, you must first have a resume or a CV, as we get to call it. Your credential vitae must be in place. And how do you get to make your credential vitae? The rule is the standard for the Canadian resume or CV is not like the Nigerian standard. So if you get to bring your Nigerian CV or the standard you have been seeing people do over time, or the same approach you actually adopt in getting jobs while working here in Nigeria or back home in Nigeria, that's or those such CVs will not be used to get jobs in Canada. So the first approach is you must first ensure that your CV or your resume is Canada standard. I think that will form the basis of our next classes where we are going to learn how to make Canada CVs, how to make SOPs, and all that you'll be needing to actually back up your application. So first, you need a Canadian CV or resume. Once you have that, secondly, you need a cover letter. A cover letter is just like the application letter we do way back in Nigeria, where you apply to a particular organization. So for every of the jobs you are applying, because we're going over the job bank now, you must have a CV to match the role, and you must have a cover letter for that role. And when your CV and cover letter are of standard, the chances of you getting a job is very, very high. Because for everybody that is being advertised on the Canada Job Bank are actually looking for foreign or international workers to work with them. So what sets you apart is not your qualification over time or the professional certification you have acquired. First is the standard of your CV is actually a prerequisite requirement. That must be a core factor in determining your employability. So, and still don't forget that for most part of the jobs on the job bank are also for skilled and unskilled. So not having a formal education is still not a disadvantage. So the fact that you don't have a formal education is not a disadvantage, or the fact that you have a formal education is not an advantage at all, because there are still jobs opening for unskilled jobs and even skilled jobs. And even by statistics, the openings are more for unskilled workers because most of the skilled jobs in Canadian employers can actually find expatriates who can actually fill them even within the shores of Canada. But the ones that some of these expatriate or trained personnel or manpower are mostly lacking are actually the unskilled ones. So if you have other skills outside literacy from a formal university or a monotechnic or polytechnic in Nigeria or any part of the world, that is just an advantage, but it's not the strongest of the advantage. The strongest of the advantage is the skills you have acquired over time. So those are some of the things that we actually add up to your quota. So in view to that, there are two core requirements. First, you need a Canadian CV. For every job you want to apply, you need a new CV for that job. So you mustn't use one CV because the job trades for a particular position might not be the same for another one. So if you are not having the right job requirements or the right responsibilities and roles that employers want you to fill in, you probably to some extent will not be able to fit in. And don't forget, the same job you're applying, there are 1,001 persons also trying to get that. Thirdly, you need at least a LinkedIn account because some of the employers will go to your LinkedIn to check your profile as well. So if you are here, you don't have a LinkedIn account, opening a LinkedIn account is free. Just visit linkedin.com, sign up if you don't have one, and set an appropriate portal LinkedIn account for yourself because sometimes the employers will want to check your LinkedIn profile to also consider your eligibility. So if you don't have one, work at getting that. And fourthly, you actually need patience and time, especially when you are doing it on your own. If you are doing it all by yourself, you are not contracting the service of anyone, you need time. And these things takes time. So it's not just something you apply today and get the job in few hours. Sometimes it could take weeks, but you need to be patient because it's worth the wait. Because to some of all of the temporary residential routes we have actually discussed over time, the cheapest is actually the work route. Because in the case of the work route, most times or in most cases, the employers sometimes will give you a sponsorship, or sometimes the employers also will give you accommodation. So most part of your costs are being cushioned, and you don't need proof of funds when it's a work route. So when you are coming through the work route, proof of funds is not needed. I don't know, my voice is echoing. Okay, now, so proof of funds is not needed
Your voice is
when you are
echoing.
actually, yeah, and I don't know why it's echoing.
Please, it's difficult to check your words. Check it, sir. Thank you.
Is it better now? It's still echoing.
No, it's still the same.
Hello.
Even with the echo, hear you loud and
Okay,
clear.
now I
Continue,
think we
sir.
can keep up now.
Lecture, please. I'm on lecture, please. Come on, please. I'm on lecture. My class.
Can you guys hear me now?
Call. I'm on lecture.
Yes, it's better now, sir.
Okay, great. So now it takes time, just like I said. You actually have to wait. It doesn't happen in hours. It's something that takes days and even weeks. So you have to wait, especially if you want to explore the work route. And in sequence to that, thanks to Canada, Canada has brought the GHP programs, LMI programs are there, and even the caregiver program is there. So that will be what we'll discuss maybe in our subsequent sections. We'll get to see how you can actually get caregiver jobs in 2 weeks, the quickest and fastest way to go about that, and how also you can actually explore the GHP program. The reason is because LMI is saturated at the time, and that's the reason why in the month of June, which is this month, the government needed to launch 2 new programs. And a bit all of those programs, the work permit duration for these visas are usually just 2 weeks. The quickest so far, because the LMI route is actually saturated. So subsequent sections like this, I believe, if the organizers will be giving us a chance again, we are going to see how we can actually get all of that in place in the shortest possible time. So now I'll go over now to share my screen. We'll go to the Canada Job Bank, how you can get a Canada job, where to apply. The first place when it comes to getting a job in Canada, either caregiving job, whatever job you can think of, the first place is the Canada Job Bank, and that is accessible. You can actually access it. It's you don't have to pay to apply for jobs. It's easy peasy, and everybody that is on the job bank has been verified by the government. So it has been proven by the government of their eligibility and credibility to employ foreign or international workers. So there's absolutely nothing to fear to being scammed or whatsoever, or being given a fake job offer and the likes. If you get to apply directly on the Canada Job Bank, everybody on the job bank has been verified. But before we actually delve into that, first I would like to share my screen. We'll go back to the Canada government official website, where we are just going to just talk about a few. Then after that, now we'll now go to the Canada Job Bank and see how we can actually get jobs. So when you visit the Canada.ca website, the first you can say is find a job. So you don't even have to do anything so special. You can use the find a job option, or you can even find jobs using this option. So if we get to click find a job, for instance, the page is going to be what displayed. And from this page now you can see the best way to get jobs as follows. One, the job bank, and that is where we'll be visiting shortly. Now, there are also federal government jobs. The government are also hiring, but federal skilled workers program eligibility might be a little bit high or tall for you to actually come in. So that might not be the best route. And there are also jobs in the Canada Armed Forces, Security Intelligence Services. So if you deem it necessary or feel that you actually want to join the Canada military, there's also spaces for you. And if by chance you're in Canada already as a student and you want to get job, there's still somewhere to go to for all of that. But what we'll be looking at today is the job bank. So if I get to click the job bank, it takes me to the Canada Job Bank where you can find a job. And I did state earlier that all of the employers here or all of the jobs here are verified jobs. The employers are certified, they are proven. The employers that are actually past the Canada employers and registration, right? So all of them are certified. So when you come to the Canada Job Bank, what do? First, you are going to make the search. But before you make the search, you have to ask questions. What are your skills? Because you can't actually be applying for jobs that you are not eligible for. You might not be employed. And because you don't want to waste your time, you actually want it quick, and fast as much as you can. So it's advisable you actually first look at your skills, your skill set. What can you do? Okay, I can drive. So if you have a driver, do you have an international driver license? I think you can still get that in Nigeria easy peasy within few days, and it costs less than 30,000 Nigerian naira. You can go to road safety offices, federal road safety offices in Nigeria, and request for your own international driver license. Because if you want to come in as a driver, the first thing you need is a driver license. And getting one is not so expensive. It doesn't take so much day. It doesn't take weeks either. It's just a matter of 2 to 3 days. Your international driver license will be ready. So that, to some extent, increasing your eligibility chances. So, but what we want to do today now, we want to apply for LMIA jobs. LMIA jobs. So if you look at my screen, you can see LMIA on this part. These are Canada summer jobs, part-time jobs, remote job, IT jobs. But what we need are LMIA. So if I get to click on LMIA, all of the available options. I guess someone is saying something.
Yeah, we can't see your screen.
Okay, let me get share my screen again.
Can see your screen will work, you can see.
Okay, is my screen visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is.
Yes, sir, your screen is
Yes, it's
visible.
visible now.
Okay, great. Let's go back. I said the first step is, let me take it. The first step is, if you need a job in Canada, go to the official Government of Canada website, which is canada.ca. Select English, because most Africans, except a few, most Anglophone countries, Africans can actually read in English. You don't have to do anything so special. Nothing is hidden. Everything is flexible. The first here is find a job. Since you are looking for a job, be it caregiving, be it driver, whatever job you are looking for, the first approach is come to the government website, click find a job. So when you get to click find a job, there are different job routes or openings you can explore. The first is the Canada Job Bank. So here's where all Canadian employers who wants to employ foreign or international workers advertises their jobs. So all you need to do is you go to the job bank, and if you feel you actually have a good quantum of skill and good certification or professional certification, you can try the Government of Canada jobs. These are jobs to work with the Canadian government. And if you feel you actually have passion to serve, you can try jobs with the Canadian Armed Forces. You can try to join the job National Security and Defense Council in Canada. You can try those ones. And if you're in Canada already, or you got someone who is studying in Canada already but doesn't have a job, let's say a client or a relative or whosoever, they can still use the student employment option. So what we'll be using today is the job bank. So all I need to do is for me to click on the job bank. So if I get to click on the job bank, all the jobs that are advertised on the job bank are verifiable jobs. They are jobs that have been verified. So if you get them, you are sure of coming to Canada and your permit will be issued. Because everybody whose job services are being advertised on this official job bank of the Canadian government have been proven worthy to recruit foreign or international workers. And I said the route we want to explore now is the LMIA. And if you can see my screen here, we have part-time jobs, we have remote jobs, we have IT jobs for those who are tech inclined. There are summer jobs, basically temporary jobs. And here's the LMIA. So I'll get to click on the LMIA. If I get to click on the LMIA, all LMIA jobs will be advertised. And there are 12,541 jobs as at today. Now, before you start applying, what you need first is ensure you are applying to jobs that you have some kind of skill set for. You can actually fill in for them before you start going over the application. And the application, as it seems, also is not so difficult. But let's discuss the job board. Now, on the job board, you can actually make application in retrospect to your skill or your profession or your whatever services you feel you can render. You can get that here on the keywords. Now, what province are you interested in working at? But one thing you should always bear in mind is certain provinces in Canada have certain job shortages. So now there are certain jobs that are in low demand, and there are certain jobs that are in high demand in certain provinces. So most times when you are making applications, you take the time and actually look at the provinces. And beneath here, you can see all of the provinces: the Alberta, British Columbia, Manitoba, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, so many, Prince Island, Quebec, so many. So take the time. These are all of the provinces in Canada. So if you want to find jobs by province, you can. But from the statistics here, you see British Columbia has more jobs compared to places like, compared to provinces like Yukon. Yukon just only has 6 jobs. I think that's the lowest. Prince Edward Island had 24. Even Ontario has more jobs, about 4,975 jobs as of today. And in total, there are 12,541 jobs. And getting these jobs, you don't have to pay anyone. You don't have to pay anything. It's free. Application is free. All you need first, just like I explained, you need a Canadian standard CV. 2, you need a cover letter. For every job, if I'm applying for general farm worker harvesting, now the employers are fair enough to tell you what they are looking for. So look at all of the roles, the job description and all that, and the requirement from the employer. If you feel you meet that requirement or you meet those requirements, what is expected of you to do is make a fresh CV for that application. So when you make a CV for that application, now write a cover letter, which is your application letter also for that application. So that is all you need. Easy peasy. So now, first, you have to know what jobs you are looking for. So what job do I want? What skills do I have? How do I fit in, and the likes? And you can see this job was advertised yesterday. So it's fresh. So now, let's say we want to apply for this first job, general farm worker. All I need to do is for me to click on it. So when you click on it, first, you can see this approval here, recognized employer. So this employer, if you get job from them, the job is real, it's legit, it's authentic. You won't be scammed. But the challenge with this employer is, let's talk about the job details. Now, here is where you'll be working. That is where they are. But they only need one person. Can you see now? Just one person for this job. So you can say the competition will be too high, but that does not mean you can't get it. You can still get it. You can get it. All you need is get the right Canadian CV, get CV for general farm worker. Since I'm applying for general farm worker, you need a well-tailored CV for general farm worker. You don't have to use a CV that actually shows that you got driving skills, or the CV that shows that you can do caregiving. No, if you get to bring that CV for general farm worker, it won't work. So the chances of getting the job is zero because you don't even have the skill set for this job. Secondly, you need a cover letter for general farm worker. Once you have the skill sets, you have your resume in place, you have your cover letter, the next thing is for you to go over the job. So how do I make my Canadian CV? For me to make my Canadian CV, all I need to do is I'm going to use the job details and what the employer is actually looking for. What are the things he needs, the responsibilities? Those are the things that will form the basis of my application. So first, this employer pays 17.44 Canadian dollars per hour, and in all 40 hours per week, 200 hours per month. So you just have to do the math. 17.44 times 200 hours times 200 is actually the monthly remuneration. And this employment is permanent. So it's not a temporary job. It's not a seasonal job. It's not a remote job. It's a permanent full-time job. So now, how do you get to do this? You work in the day, weekend, early morning, and morning. So when is this job starting? So if you look at when this job is starting, this job is even starting as soon as yesterday. So the chances of you getting it is still slim. Because if they get someone almost immediately, they are going to employ. And in most cases, or in cases like this, what we debar is the recruitment process. So, but first, this employer is certified LMI employer. This employer has applied for labor market impact assessment to hire a foreign worker to fill labor or skill shortages on a temporary basis. So, if you get this job, you'll be getting an LMI number, you'll be getting an LMI certificate, you'll get a job offer. Then once you have those three things in place, Eureka, your work permit is an approval away. So for this employer, the job is starting as soon as possible. If you feel you can actually do something within the shortest possible time, it will increase your chances. You have your resume, Canadian resume for a general farm worker resume standard. You have your cover letter. You can make the application as quick as possible. If this employer is recruiting as soon as possible, so there are chances you could get to your LMI in less possible time, get to your LMI certificate and number, give you the job offer, then you just make application for the work permit. Now, this employer needs someone, language is English. Education, no degree, certificate, or diploma. So if you have a certificate, which could be high school diploma, which is your O-level, SSC, WAEC, NECO, GC, NAPTEP, you are good to go. Now, 2 years to less than 3 years experience. So you must include this in your CV. Now, work site environment, pig farming. So first, in your CV, when you are stating your experiences and places you have worked, you just have to include this thing. But the truth is, I make less to say. Sometimes you might not have all of these experiences, but you can actually learn them online. You can put them and start learning in the course of while you are still waiting for your application to be approved. Because you probably might not have worked in a pig farm before, and you actually want to capture the attention of the employer. Some persons will go out of their way and say, yes, I've worked in a pig farm, states whatsoever years they have worked, social agencies, maybe pig and agricultural companies in Nigeria that they have worked with. Fine, put that in your CV. And now the work setting is there is accommodation to these jobs. Staff accommodation is available. And because it's a general farm harvesting job, rural area, so you probably have to stay in places like New Brunswick, like Saskatoon, Regina. Those are some of the places you most likely will stay. So you can say it's in rural area, but your accommodation is guaranteed, and you'll be paid 17.44 Canadian dollars hourly, and you have to work 40 hours per week, making a total of 200 hours per month. So if you get to do the math, that is actually your monthly remuneration. Now, what are the tasks involved? All of these are to be captured in your CV or your resume. Clear fields of wood and stones, pack fruits and vegetables, plant, cultivate and irrigate, blah, blah, blah. These are the tasks. So if I'm making a Canadian resume for this job, all of these things will be captured. So I'll get to say that I can actually work in an environment where agrarian activities are being promoted, and you can do that with the best of your ability. And your cover letter, when you are making your cover letter, state places you have worked with instances. If you have a garden in maybe behind your house, state it. Put all of the work experiences you have, because the employer now wants to employ one person who is a foreigner, and they are giving the person accommodation, giving the person LMIA, and he can come with his dependents. So you just have to do all you can to get the very best of the approach. Now, this is the experience and specialization. They need someone who has experience in onions and grains, who can manage onion seeder machine, onion transplanter, forklift, vegetable harvester. These are the experiences they need. You can learn some of those things. If you don't even know vegetable harvester, go to YouTube, type vegetable harvester. You will see a whole lot of videos on that. Now, additional information. If you are coming for this job, you need a valid driver license. And I've stated that driver license here is your international driver license. So in what sense? Because in most cases, you have to operate some of those machines. Because of the forklift there, go and apply for your international driver license today. It takes 2 to 3 days and it's less 30,000 Nigerian naira. You can get it and add that so that when you are making applications and job comes knocking, you will not be having limitations to a license. And they make bold to say that public transportation is not available. So they are not providing transportational facilities or services to the staff. So the staff have to transport themselves to work. Now, what are the work conditions and physical capabilities? Ability to work independently, physically demanding, attention to detail. You can pay attention to detail. Sometimes you have to do some bending, crouching, and kneeling. Combination of sitting, standing, walking. Some of those things will come in. Personal suitability, team player. So add that to your qualities. So when you're making your Canadian resume, add this, team player. Now, what are the benefits that this job comes with? Now, there will be a dental plan, and if one is disabled, maybe had any form of disability, there are benefits for that. So who can apply for this job? A Canadian citizen, a permanent or temporary resident of Canada, or you have a valid Canadian work permit. Now, even if you don't have this, you can still apply, because you can, once you get a job, you can still go for your permit. If you are not authorized to work in Canada, do not apply. Maybe you have been banned for certain years, don't make attempt to apply. Or you are coming from nations, or you are a citizen from nations that Canada has actually placed total ban on their citizens from coming to their country, you don't have to apply. The next is how to apply. And this job is valid till on the 25th. And again, look below now. They say this job also was posted directly by the employer on Job Bank. The government of Canada has taken steps to make sure it is accurate and reliable, but cannot guarantee its authenticity. But in most cases, it is. So how do I apply? Let's say we have all it takes for this job. Just click show how to apply. So this is what to do. One, by email. Include this reference number. These are the steps. You are going to send an email to this. One, what are you emailing? Your resume, your cover letter. Now include this in your reference number in your application. So this should be in your cover letter. Here is what you must include in your job reference number, and it has been stated here. This job posting screening includes screening questions. Please answer the following questions when applying. Are you currently legally able to work in Canada? Do you have previous experiences in the field of employment? So this should form the basis for your application. When you are making your cover letter, you are making your resume, all of these things should be captured. When you have all of these things in place, you make applications with the right procedures and steps, you can get this job. And when the employer helps you, when you get this job from the employer, you are getting a 2 years LMI job offer, you are getting your LMI certificate, you are getting your LMI number, and your spouse, your civil partner, your children can come with you. And if you have children who are 18 years and above, they can work under the open work permit alongside your civil partner. So all of these things is not rocket science. So first, you need, if you don't, I believe it's impossible for anyone to be and not having a Gmail account. It's not possible. So create a Gmail account. And I will tell us the standard for when you want to apply for jobs in Canada. You don't have to use your regular Gmail. For instance, I don't know, okay, john2024@gmail.com. That might not work. Now, let's say my name is John Silas. So when I want to make my own email, I will have something like john.silas maybe you can put any number, it's fine. Because John.Silas might have been registered on Gmail before. And it's not necessary to use Gmail alone. You can use Rocket Mail, you can use Hotmail, you can use Yandex Mail, you can even use the Yahoo Mail. So there are even many mail options you can explore. So get yourself an email if you don't have one. Don't use your regular email for this. It's always advisable you create an email for job application so that every time you are going to that email, it's just notifications on jobs and the ones you have been offered. So that is the basic. So, but without much ado now, we are going to go back to the job bank. Let's just search for a job. Can somebody suggest a job that we should search for? Let me pick someone. Can Apis Baba today help?
Insurance job.
Okay, caregiving job.
Yes.
Okay, Chief. All you need to go back, just type caregiver. So all available caregiving jobs we show. And by results, there are 911. And do you know the good news here? If you get a caregiver job, you'll be given permanent residence on arrival. So automatically, you are becoming a Canadian citizen on arrival. So I know most persons will channel their energy here. But when it comes to applying for the caregiver, the requirement and the specifications may differ. There are still one or two things you have to put in place. It's oblivious to know of the fact that when the Canadian government announced it, sometimes 2nd or 3rd of this month, there are still other requirements you need alongside your application, which is the general eye health. So you should have an eye health SAT. That was not mentioned in the requirement, but it's a core requirement. But when we actually come on board to actually get to look at the caregiver approach in essence, we'll get to have that discussed. So the first job we have here is live-in caregiver. So we take that. It's in Brampton and it's in Ontario. So the hourly wage, $17 per hour, Canadian dollars. It's a full-time permanent employment. Start as soon as possible. But there's something about this job. The employer did not advertise directly on the Canadian job board or job bank. Rather, the employer advertises it on Indeed.com. So there are still other places to get job outside the job bank that I'll still get to share some of them with us and we'll get to see them too. So now, what are the things to know for this job? There is absolutely no so much information, but to get all you need to know, you have to visit Indeed.com. So let's go see the full job posting there. So that this is the full job posting, if you can see my screen. This is Indeed.ca. So now you can apply now. These are the job details. The pay is 17 Canadian dollars an hour. The job type is full-time and is permanent. Weekends as needed. So there's day shift, there's Monday to Friday. You work Monday to Friday. Sometimes there are shifts in the day, there are shifts at night, and sometimes you might be made to work during weekends. And the location is Ontario, Brampton, Ontario. So what are the benefits of this job? Casual dress. So you don't have to wear white collar, dressed in ties and suit, just your casual dress. There's paid time off. So if you get to work outside the required or agreed time, you could get paid off. And you can work from home. Work from home does not mean you'll be working from your home. So what it actually means, you'll be working maybe in a particular person's house. So you don't have to stress yourself so much. We are looking for a caregiver for our 2 sons. Can you see the person who is filling for this now is to take care of 2 persons, ages 4 and 6. $17 per hour, and the person will work 30 to 40 hours per week. The term or the contract is a full term. Hours, early morning, daytime, evening, those are the hours. So start date as soon as November 29. So you can see this one is still a bit far, but you can, notwithstanding, you can still apply. So from the time they are going to give you the offer letter, get your LMI number and certificates, get you your work permit and all, you still have some chances. You can still give it a trial. Don't quit. Don't give up at it. Remember, this time it's you doing the application. You are not paying anybody, so you don't have to be in a rush. But what you need at first is you need to get the right resume is very, very important. Canadian standard resume for every job you're applying for. And you actually need to get a standard cover letter. So now the irony is they just need one, it's just one person they are trying to recruit at the time. So you can say this job is a private job because this actually shows that it's a private home in Canada wanting a caregiver. Now, what are the educational requirements? High school graduation certificate. That is your WAEC, the Nigerian NECO, the Nigerian NAPTEP, the Nigerian GCA can. Experience 1 year to less than 2 years. Work setting, where will you work? Employer's home. So what are the responsibilities? Perform light housekeeping and cleaning duties. These are the responsibilities. So all of this must be captured in your CV or your resume. So when you are making resume, you have to include all of these things. You might not copy them verbatim. You can actually fine-tune them to look like it. Prepare and serve nutritious meals. Basically, it's going to be for females or someone who can actually take them. So what are other benefits to this job? Pay time off. So if you get to work, volunteer on personal days or days where your services are not needed, if you come, they are going to pay you off and they are providing transportation for you. How to apply is not rocket science. When you have your resume intact, you have your cover letter in place, just send an email using your email to Karen Victoria Bakwiran at yahoo.ca. Can you see that now? Send your application here. You will get response or feedback. And if the employer finds you worthy, then you are in. So work location is in person. And don't forget I said this job is what? Verified because it's advertised on the job bank. There is absolutely nothing to fear. The government have taken the time to prove that everybody or every employer employment vacancy you are seeing here is certified worthy to recruit foreign or international workers. So what more can we say? Come to jobbank. Just come to the government website, go to find job, go to job, then go to where you can actually get it. So once you have it, you start making applications for the job. And once you have the job, you are going to get a Canadian offer. You are going to get your LMI letter, number rather, and the certificate. Do you get that now? So that is that for the LMIA job. So now they say caregiver job is on the high. People are trying to get it so that they could get permanent residence. It's not rocket science. Get all the necessary things you need to get. Come straight to the job bank yourself. When you search for caregiver job, the last we did, there were more than 800 employers wanting to recruit. So do the best to apply to as many or as much as you can. Certainly you are going to get. And the application process doesn't take time. Out of your leisure time, you can send application to make sure you are having the right resume, make sure you have the right cover letter. So you can send applications to 10 to 15 employers in a particular day. God is not wicked. One of them will give you the job and Eureka, boiler, straight to Canada. And if you come in with the caregiver job, you are getting your permanent residence. Automatically, all of your dependents, your civil partner, your children become Canadian citizens in one shot. So I just want to believe we are going to give our best shots. We are going to try this ourselves. It's not so difficult. The process is very simple. But the only challenge is how to get a Canadian resume. Is the only problem I know we most likely will have. Or how to write cover letters. I know that is the only problems we are going to have. So, but that will be taught, and everybody will start doing their Canadian CV themselves. And for yourself, your family, relatives, and even your clients. So when your clients come looking for a job, they want to migrate using the work route to Canada, you don't need external bodies or start consulting other people, sending your jobs to other agencies. You will sit down in your office and render top-notch services to them. And that's with absolute credibility. So that is that for the LMIA. Easy peasy, less stressful. You don't have to do anything. Just search. Okay, I think you want to come in as a forklift driver. Just type that. 1,001 jobs will show. Just type it. All available jobs for forklift operator will show. There are 110 jobs. Imagine if you apply to, let's say, 10, 20, 30, as you can, apply as much as you can. The right resume or the right CV, the right cover letter. When you are done making all of these applications, one of them will offer you the job. And when you get the job, Eureka, you get your LMI certificate, you get your LMI number, you get your job offer straight to Lagos or Abuja for your biometrics capturing, and voila, you have your work permit. Up to Canada, you come, easy peasy. And in most cases, you will find that you don't have to spend so much, especially if you're handling it yourself. Because the only money you'll be spending, as long as I know, is just going to be for biometrics. So we are going to see how to apply for work permit. So we are going to pre-assume now that we now have our LMIA, we now have our LMI number and certificate, and we actually have our job offer. I'm going to show us a sample of the LMI. So we got a client who just got our own LMI certificate, job offer, and license. That was about 3 hours ago. But I don't know if I should share it or I should reach out to the applicant first so that our details will not be up and displayed. So that when anything goes wrong, she will not say it's because you show people my certificate. So I gotta believe in that, but it's possible. You can do it. You don't need third party for any of these services. You can do it all by yourself. So let's go back to how we can apply for work permit. So let's assume we now have all of these documents. We have gotten a job. Easy peasy. We now have our LMI number. We have our license and all. Remember, all you need after getting this is just your work permit. So straight to the Canada website, canada.ca, you can see get work permit. Click on that, get work permit. So now, if you are getting work permit, are you making an application? You can see caregivers options are there, but we'll talk about them. So now, for you to get, you can see job bank, where we just came out from. But now let's assume we have already. Is someone asking a question? Okay, let's assume you have gotten the job and it's time to apply for your work permit. Remember, you did all of those things yourself. So find out if you need a work permit. Apparently, you need a work permit. So temporary workers, that's where you are coming. Click on that because this is for people who got job under the labor market impact assessments. Do you see that now? So that is where to go. Click on this, easy peasy. It's self-explicable. It's not so difficult. It's something you can do. And caregiver jobs are even 2 weeks processing time. Do you see that now? So others, LMI may be a little bit delayed, but caregiver jobs are quick. And if you come here, you can read everything you need for 2-week processing. Find out if you're eligible for 2-week processing. There are some categories that are just 2 weeks. And there are even some categories that you don't need permit. You only need a visiting visa. But time will fail us because we have actually deep down into, we have exhausted almost, we have gone past an hour so far, so we might not be able to keep up so well. So the next thing, apply for a work permit. Let's just go straight to the point. So the fee for applying for a work permit is how much? 150 Canadian dollars. Cheap, not so expensive. So you don't have to pay a particular immigration officer, though I do understand why I'm giving all of those things is for self-reliability, so that everybody can be self-reliable. You don't, because paying an immigration officer or paying a travel agency is exorbitant. But if you know how to do it and you trust the approach, you trust the process, Eureka, you're only paying 155 Canadian dollars. Excluding this fee, you're going to be paying VFS processing fee. That's all. So everything you'll be spending for this approach, if you're doing it yourself, is still less 600,000 Naira, even if Naira keeps devaluating by the day, and by the time most likely you'll be coming on board with your own application. So now there are 2 types of work permits. Most when that's the work permits work in Canada, blah, 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 answer a few questions, blah, blah, blah. We might not go there. Let's just go straight to the point. I've talked about the employer-specific work permit. I'm sure we can remember. And there are some employee offer letters that are LMI exemption. So LMI exemption simply means there are certain jobs that you don't need LMI letter for, or neither do you need the LMI number or certificate. There are certain jobs. So such jobs are called LMI exempted jobs. Time will fail us, we might not go. That is why the website is there, canada.ca. Take the time and spend time on knowledge, invest in knowledge. Now, and beyond this, just like I stated, at the end of the class, a free PDF material will be sent. So everything you need to know for applying for jobs, all the things I'm saying now in totality, I've actually put them down in that document or in that material. If you feel you don't have time to go through the website, go through the PDF. The PDF is to guide and school you to developing mastery in delivering services that actually has to do with what we have been learning so far. So now we have talked about that, so we might not get to look at that. So, but the PDF material will help us to actually get to do that. So we are talking about the open work permits. Your spouse or common law partner, they are the ones who work there. If you got children who are 18 and above, they can actually get to explore that. Let's just go straight to the point. Who can apply, blah, blah, blah. How to apply. So let's just go straight to how to apply. Other ones we can actually read. Now to apply, you have to do that online. So where are you applying from? So we are outside Canada for now. So go through the information, how to apply, get the application to work in Canada, click on that, straight jackets, get help to open an application form or fill one out in the help center, blah, 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 apply online for a work permit. How are you applying? Answer some basic questions. Online, required in almost all cases. Where are you applying from? Put Nigeria, our noble country. Nigeria, straight jackets. Online application from Nigeria. These are the things, these are the instructions you need. You need statutory declaration of common law union, especially depending on your situation. For those who are coming with their partners, download this. This is the instruction guide. You can click on it, read all the instructions to fill out the forms. What the instructions you need. Visa office requirement for applicants in Nigeria. When you're going to VFS Center, that is a visa office requirement. Click on this, download it so that you actually know the visa office requirements, spell that out, blah, you can do all of those things easy peasy. So this is a table of contents, Lagos visa office instructions. Now, if you're applying online and still going to VFS, because apparently you go for VFS for biometrics and photo capturing, this is the form. Read those things thoroughly. We might not have time because we still have other things to look at. So online, let's just go over. Nigeria is where I'm applying from. So let's get to select Nigeria. There's Nigeria here. The instructions are spelled out. You need a valid credit or debit card, a scanner or camera to capture your face, and debit or credit card to make the payments, because we are going to pay 155 Canadian dollars. Now, depending on your situation, read this to know if you don't need, but Nigerians do need. Use it to pay your fees. You need an account to apply online so that you can pay for the work permit fee. Click on create an account or sign in. And some of us, I'm sure we have this account already. Do we remember the account we created the last time? Apply for this application. Check if this is the right account for you. You can read through, blah, blah, blah. Read all you need to read. Now, register for an account so that you can actually apply for your work permit. If you actually have the previous or the first accounts we created the last time, you don't need to create another account. But I'm only doing this for some persons who were not part of the last class, maybe for some other reasons. Already have an account, sign into your RC secure account. Do you see that now? So some of us have, so just sign in. I don't know if Matt Wendy Fly is in class.
I am, sir.
Okay. So all you need is, if you sign into your account, your IRCC portal, like the one we did the first time, instead of selecting, select new application. Don't select visit visa, select work permit, and you can fill the form. When you are done filling the form, make your payment, download the documents that is required for you to take to VFS Center, because from there you are going to get your appointment. Go to VFS Center, pay your service fee, do your biometrics, do your face capturing, go back home. In most cases, between 2 to 4 weeks, your work permit to be ready. All you need when you have your work permit, get You just have to collect that. It will be sent and your passport will be stamped. Then get everything in place, start buying your ticket and start coming to Canada. Easy peasy. And if you are coming with dependent, let's say you are coming with your wife,
I can't hear anything. Is it only me?
You've seen
Yeah,
again.
I think
think it is network. That's what the video.
are you guys hearing me now?
Okay,
yes,
you're
Yes,
we're
we
back.
can
hearing
hear
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
now.
we're hearing you.
Okay, now great. I said after you must have been
But the
given your
screen
work
is off
permit.
now.
Okay, I'll be sharing that. Okay, let me get share my screen again.
Can't hear you, sir.
Okay, no, I'm trying to share my screen. Can we see my screen now?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
My
yes.
screen.
Yes.
Great. So let's now want to get for, let's assume we are going with our civil partner. So all we need is open work permit for family members. So if you have civil, your civil partner is your husband or your wife, but if you got children, why 18 years and above, and you don't want them to go for post high school programs like either colleges or university programs, you want them to work. All you need to do is open work permit for family members. Click on that. How to apply. Let's just go straight. Now the fee for that, though the fees varies by country. Let's see the fees. Finds out about fees. Let's try to see how much is the fee. So where are you paying from? Nigeria. Let's get to select that so that we actually know how much it costs. What application are you submitting? Temporary residents. Don't forget, all these are temporary residence routes. What are you paying for? So what you are paying for is work permit because you are trying to get for your partners under the open work permit. So get payment instructions. So now, can you see the maths? So work permit includes per group 3 or more for 3 or more persons. Open work permit holder, this is your spouse now. Your spouse and children who are 18 years and above and you want them to work. Your own work permit is $155, Canadian dollars, we have seen that. And in Naira is 85,000. No, it's not 85,000. Hope we all know this. What you'll be paying to the Canadian government is 155. When it was 85,000 Naira was when Naira was still okay because 155 Canadian dollar. Let me just check that on Google. Okay, by Google, 155 Canadian dollars to Naira is 170,416 point Naira 75 kobo. So that is what you'll be paying for yourself. Now for your spouse or kids who are 18 and above, you'll be paying 100 Canadian dollars. So that is what you need for the fee. And beyond this also now, those are just what you'll be paying. So let's go back and see how we can apply for our spouses, for those who are going with their spouse or who are going with children who are 18 and above. So how to apply straight to the jacket? So how do you apply? They say for the main steps to apply online, you and your family member should check how to apply for a work permit. Straight to the point. So your own fee has been stated. So the same process for applying for yourself is on the same portal you are going to apply for your family members as well. But all you need to do at the time is when you are making your application for yourself, you have to add other people to the application. So your wife, you're adding your wife. If you've got kids who are 18 and above and you want them to work, then you can also add them to the application. So without much ado, let's just talk about one last program, which is the GHP. Now, the GHP program is new. The government just introduced it. It's called the Global Hypergrowth Project. But the challenge for the GHP program is the GHP program is an accelerated growth service. So about 13 companies in Canada came together. These are the companies. So in this case now, when you're applying for these programs, you apply directly to these companies. These are the companies, there are about 13 in all. They just displayed a few. I think here we have 8, but the total number of companies are 13. If you intend to come under the Global Accelerated Growth Service, it's also open. It's just a way of getting the people who are innovators to Canada. And in that vein, now, when you make application for this, the processing time is just 2 weeks. If you get a job with any of these companies and other 13, I think the subsequent PDF that will be sent outside this, we sent on the Global Hyper Growth Program so that you can actually have all adequate and necessary information you need to participate adequately, either for yourself or for other applicants. So in light to this now, it's just a bit I'll talk about the Global Hypergrowth Program. It's actually selected for people with certain skills, not just for skilled workers only, even unskilled workers. You're a baker, you're a hairstylist, you're a barber, you can still fall in all of those programs. And it has the fastest processing time. Because at the time now, these 13 known companies are actually looking for eligible recruiters or employees who are going to fill into their organizational vacant spaces. You can still explore this route, get all you need, get application. If you get a job in 2 weeks, your work permit is ready and you're up and running to Canada. So the subsequent PDF on this will be shared outside this. Outside the first the PDF that will be shared at the end of today's class, we get to give us a PDF on the GHP programs so that if you want to prepare your clients or prepare relatives or anybody wants to come to Canada using that route, you will have all the information you need and you'll be able to do the right thing and get them up and running to Canada. So I think this brings us to the end on the Canada visa success. Though so much we're not discussed, so much we're not said because of the limited time. We have just we just have about 30 minutes more, if I'm not mistaken. And I, to some extent, also have to go get myself engaged with other things. So I will beg everybody available today, let's just utilize the other 30 minutes for questions. And I don't know if the organizers will be fair enough to give us another paid program, but that will be communicated by the facilitators or the organizers rather. So now I think at those points now, if you have a question, I think the curtain will be made open. Then today, I believe everybody will ask their questions to the fullest and the right possible best answers will be given so that you actually get to have answers to most parts of your dark patches. So if you have a question, you indicate. I think the first person here is, oh, we only have 2 people asking the questions. That's great. Or others are joining now. 4. Okay, first let's start with Ifeinwa. I don't know if I got your name correctly. So can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes. All right. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, greetings to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for your wonderful piece of that lecture. It's really, really inspiring. So
You're
my
most
question
welcome.
goes like this. You just talked about everything about Canadian work, but my own problem and question is coming from Australian side. How do I,
Okay.
all these things now, are they the same with the Australian visa, particularly Sydney?
Okay, now every nation actually have their own routes or their job openings. But I think the best way to answer the question so that we don't take so much of our time, maybe you reach out to the facilitators, maybe an opportunity will be given for me to talk with you.
Okay, please, our facilitator, please give us an avenue to talk because this is where my
Not
mind is.
facilitators, organize,
Yes, sir.
organize.
Okay, great now. No problem. So I don't know. I believe the facilitators will be kind enough, so they will actually help us talk about that so that we actually maximize time. Now the next is Dr. Mike. So can you
Thank you, sir.
ask the question, sir? You're most welcome, man.
Thank you, boss.
You're most welcome,
The
sir.
lecture has been blowing. You promised to talk about insurance, but because of time, I know you are short with time. Just give us a quick one. How do we go about the insurance?
Okay, now talking about insurance, insurance is easy peasy. Now every nation actually have the insurance policy because most nations actually have certain diseases that are particular and peculiar to them. But I feel in our next point section, insurance and other services will be included. And I will talk with the facilitator. I'll send you a tailored guide on everything insurance so that you can get yourself fully ready for the insurance class. Because I don't know, it seems we have limited time.
Hello, sir.
Hello, I also have a
Hello, sir.
question, please.
Hello, sir. Hello. Hello, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you now. So what I was saying is I will get to share you I'll get to share you the insurance PDF material outside this platform. Then subsequent sections that will be had, insurance will be first discussed. We'll get to start with insurance. So that in that case now, we'll actually discuss it in totality.
Thank you. How do I get the PDF? Is it a promise?
Okay. Yeah, it's promised. The facilitators will share that. So I will get it to the facilitator. And if there will be need, I don't know, if there will be
And
need
they will
for we to
say it
just
to us.
talk a bit on that, then the
Hello, sir.
facilitator will also make that available as well.
It's obvious
Dr.
that
Mike, can
you're
you
in
hear
a
me?
hurry. It's
Hello,
obvious
sir.
that you're in a hurry. It's obvious that you're in a hurry and you cannot really attend to all questions. I suggest that maybe we should just put our questions on the page and then you give answers to them because it's obvious that you're in a hurry and you cannot really plug
Yeah,
out
the
all the
reason is because
questions.
this is actually my work time, and
Exactly.
7 would have been better because a bit without I would have been on recess. But I do
Okay.
understand it's fine.
No, that's why I'm suggesting that we all put up our questions on our
That would
WhatsApp page and then you give answers to them and that will be fine. Instead of just
Yes.
rushing up and yes, I think we should
Yes.
just
Okay,
do
now
that
I think
I
and
think
let
that's
that is
you lose today.
okay. Yeah, I think that is
That will be
fine. I don't know
better.
if the
It's
facilitators
obvious that
are
you are
okay with
rushing.
it.
That's okay, sir.
Please, is everybody okay with it?
That's okay.
We are
Yes,
okay
It's
sir.
now.
I am.
obvious
Yes,
that
That's a
Please
good one.
remember.
it's,
Because yeah.
it's obvious we are
that's
eating into
good,
your
sir.
time.
I
Yes,
confirm.
I think that's better.
That's a good
Agreed,
one.
ma.
Okay, now,
Yes, let's
okay,
just let it
great.
go.
That's fine. Is there anyone that has a caregiver certificate in the house? You have a caregiver certificate, live-in
Yes.
caregiver certificate.
Yes.
Yes.
I
I do.
I don't have, sir.
Okay, so
Can I
people who
have
have
1 minute?
live-in caregiver, now this is my view. Live-in caregiver from a recognized institute, not some sort of online
I have
programs
a
from
caregiver,
Ali,
sir.
from Coursera, from Udemy, not some sort of online programs. You actually took from a recognized institute. If you have that, Boiler will be helping you out with the free visa slot. So
Wow.
persons who are most eligible should share that with the facilitator. So we'll just take the time to check. So people or anyone who have the most recognized is not eligible for the caregiver job. And so it's not eligible for the free visa entry. Then I will communicate to you privately. Then we start the process almost immediately.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I
Thank
pretty
you
much
so
All right, thank
yeah.
you, Charles.
Thank you
Thank you
Yes.
so much. We'll put our questions on the page and then you'll be able
On the
to
group.
answer it. And then
Yes.
we can,
Okay,
yes,
ma,
so we
please
can let you
remember.
go.
Okay,
Where's
ma, please remember my first
Hello.
question. Please let there be an avenue for me to talk
Hello.
with
Hello.
him
Only you will have
about the Australian visa.
As my resource person,
You
George.
want?
Hello.
come
Hello.
around
As my resource
after
person.
Yeah, I'm still
She's there.
around.
She's here.
Hello. He's
Hello,
still
one
around.
hour
He's
gone.
still around. He has not gone.
Please let us all put our questions on
Hello.
the page. Let's let
I
him
know
go,
we are
please.
asked to put all of our questions,
It's,
but our
it's
time has
obvious
gone.
that he's, yes, let's put it on the
Can
page,
you
please.
hear
It's
me?
obvious that he's busy.
Please, can you hear me?
Hello.
Mrs. Guazo, please
Hello.
go on.
Hello.
We can hear you, Pastor. It's
I
like
can
the
hear you.
others are talking. Can you mute everybody so they can hear you? Just mute everybody so they'll be able to hear you.
I think that's the end of the class now.
Yes.
Hello. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
We've
I'll
all
try.
yes,
agreed
we
that
just
we
put
will
our
put our
questions on
questions. Why
the
are
group.
people saying hello, hello, hello? Put your questions in the group and he will attend
Yes,
to them.
and you will attend to them and you answer them appropriately, other than rushing
But
in.
he told us.
Madam
He told us
Kuzang.
we still have 30 minutes to go.
But we also all consider the fact that he said it's his work time. And that's why we
Yes,
all
Don't
agreed that we
worry,
should put our
exactly.
questions on the
it
group.
is work time. Let's consider
Uh-huh.
and be
We have to
sensitive, please.
consider him
Madam
too.
Kuzang.
Uh,
Madam Kuzang, are you still on the line, please?
I think
Yes,
she's
I'm
been
here.
trying
I'm
to
here.
talk,
So
but
sorry. I'm somehow in a noisy place, so I'm trying to look for a better place.
Yes,
All
please.
right. Good evening,
Yes.
everyone.
Good
Thank
Are
evening,
you
you.
ma.
with
Good
good
evening, ma.
evening.
me? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, ma.
Yes, we can all hear
Hello.
you.
How are you?
I can hear you, ma.
We can hear you, madam.
You do your background is very
All right.
noisy.
Thank you very much. Thank you for availing yourself. Thank you, Mr. Wells. Okay. I can see some are asking question about the insurance. Hello.
Madam Kuzang.
We
Madam
We
can
can
Kuzang.
hear
hear
you, ma.
you.
Hello. Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes, he has
Yes, we
Can
can
we
promised to
all
hear
send
hear
the
you.
me?
PDF. Yes,
Yes,
he has
We
ma'am.
can
promised to
Yes,
All
hear
send
we
the
you.
can
right.
hear
All
you.
PDF.
right.
Go
All right. Thank you
Please
very
go ahead. Please
much.
go ahead.
So, like I
A
was
quick
saying,
one, ma. We
for
all agreed that
the insurance, we are going to.
Mr. Wells.
I'm with you. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yes, we all agreed that Mr. Wells should be relieved so that he can get back to his work because he said this is work time. And so many of us have several
Yes.
questions we want to ask. But we agreed that we'll put
Yes,
the
sir.
questions on the group so that he
Together.
can take his time to respond to the different questions. And in addition to that, he also said that he was going to get in touch with you so that the aspect of the insurance can be the very first thing in the next session that he's going to take with us so that he
In the
can take
next
that one
training,
first.
right?
And then
It's
yes,
all
then
right.
he also said he was going to
He also
send us a
promised to
PDF.
send a PDF.
He promised
On
to send us a
insurance.
Yes.
PDF through you,
Yes.
explaining all
But
the
how many
things
of
that
us
he
has finished reading the Ayata Bible?
We're
Are we
still
done with
reading
the
it
It's a,
Ayata
gradually.
Bible?
We are
it's a
reading it
gradual
gradually.
process, ma.
The Bible is a
Okay. And we
lifetime
need
document.
another one.
Yes,
You're
no, this
still
is
reading
the most
another
important
one.
one. The one
don't
We
because
bother
can
every
One is
of
more
us
read
were here.
it
important than the
now.
don't
other.
That's
bother
not a
about the
All
problem.
right.
reference.
All right.
Maybe the
It's
reference
all
is
right.
Nobody
No
different.
finished
problem.
reading the
Not
Bible
an
in a day.
explanation
Yes,
this
I don't
one.
just want to compile a lot of materials for you, but at least you need to also read them and digest them properly
We
Yes,
so
will,
that
ma'am.
we
ma.
don't
So we
just
have to
We
pile up
read
will.
them
We
properly.
will
materials.
definitely.
All
We
right,
We create
will.
so
time.
exercise patience. All
okay,
right, so all your
ma'am.
questions from your different lecture groups, so just compile them and keep dropping them in the group. So what we are going to do, we will not allow too many chats. We are going to lock all the groups first. You write out your question, then we'll announce when the groups will be open so that everyone posts only the questions that they have. Then we'll lock it up until all the responses have been dropped. Is
Okay,
that
ma.
okay by us?
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
ma. Ma,
Yeah, so
please,
that we
one
will
more
not
thing.
overload the group. You said?
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right.
Okay.
One more thing, ma.
All right, so,
I
all right,
I
I'm
asked
listening.
him. I asked him about Australian visa. He said that there should be a way that you give us an avenue to talk privately on that.
Yeah,
Please.
so you can get back to me on that. You'll get to your
Okay.
facilitator in your class. Your facilitator will get across to me. Yes. So we'll talk. For those that need visas, you can just directly chat me on that. We are going to help you through that.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank
yes. You're welcome.
you.
So no problem. We are going to be ending the class now. So just do as I said. Then the materials are here to be posted. We'll do that shortly.
All right.
Okay.
And
Thank you very much.
thank you for trusting in us and believing in us. As you watch out for the next phase, we are taking you from the beginning stage, from one level to the other until you are well equipped. If you notice, that's what we are doing. We started with the proficiency ticketing course, and then to this one, and then we are going deeper, so that by the time you are done, you will know that yes, you have enough knowledge. And then for those that are supposed to get the white label, those that are interested, that want to get the white label to start to own their own booking sites, though we gave the deadline to be today for payments. You know that he has given us a discount. It cost 500,000 naira, but he has given every student that came in through Kuzang Global a discount, and you have one just to pay 150,000 naira to get that. And then you mentor you and put you through, and then you will start issuing out tickets from your own site with your business name and your logo. So for those that have not gotten that and are interested, make sure you take advantage of this. Well, we are actually supposed to end that. That opening was supposed to come to close today, but because of some people that have reached out and pleaded, we've decided to move it to 20th. Is it okay?
All right, ma'am.
Why not the end of the month?
End of the month.
Can we be paying
So,
instrumentally? Can we pay?
All right, no problem. You can reach out to your facilitator and let's discuss that. Let's discuss on that.
Okay.
And then we are going to be taking another course of the proficiency ticketing course. Don't miss that in case you have not taken that with us. And I believe that you are gaining value. So I will want you to be our ambassadors by sharing the group links. Wherever group you belong to, share the group link to invite someone to also enjoy these privileges. I know what we are giving you is more or less like free, because what we pay you is just for you to just get committed and sit down and do it. Because you know that what you are getting is far, far, far more than what you are paying.
We are
so
grateful,
yes, and that is what we are actually out here to do. Yes, ma. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Please, how do I
yes,
reach
sir.
you, please?
You said?
How do I reach you? I have. How do I reach you? How do I reach you?
Okay. I don't know. From which class did you join?
I'm from Gimat.
From Gimat's class. All right. Just let her know. She will link you up with me. Talk to Gamma. She will link you up. Is that okay? Is that okay, sir?
Well, it's okay.
It's all right. So that is it. Thank you very much. So ensure you invite others to join us. And let's call it a day while we watch out. And then our certificates will start dropping by tomorrow on our email. So if you know that the certificate is just a certificate of participation. You understand? So for participating in this course, we'll give you a certificate of being a participant. So they will be dropping that in our emails. And then the PDF materials will also be dropped for us. So if you know that your email is not correct, please correct it before we start sending them out. So from tomorrow evening, we can start looking out for our certificate. But one thing with us is that certificate is not really our aim here. It's not certificate that is really our goal, but to equip you with the knowledge that you can go out and stand on your own and do something. You can see the way our country is going. We cannot sit down and tie our hands and be waiting for government. Do something for yourself. You understand? And that is the vision of Kuzang Global, to give you the skill, to develop you, and then you can stand on your own and become a boss for yourself. All right? So sorry.
Okay,
Thank
ma.
you so much, and thank you everyone. And God bless you
God
all.
bless you.
And you
All
God
right.
too.
bless you. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a nice
Bye.
evening.